I ran into Amanda, and I'm like, don't you have a radio show? She's like, I do. I'm like, you had me on a year and a half ago. You said you said you're going to have me on again. You never called, right? So we've been friends since then.
Before we start today's show, please visit the sponsors, affiliates, and friends of the Stagecoach.
The Square Reviews, brutally honest product and travel reviews for red-blooded Americans by red-blooded Americans. Visit them at thesquarereviews.com.
TheGunFood.com has an extensive network of partners to connect you with your guns, ammunition, and firearm training. The Gun Food only sells ammo that they trust. Use RSWC as a discount code and save 5.56% on your order at thegunfood.com. PowerTac flashlights have combined premium craftsmanship, American ingenuity, and cutting-edge technology, creating a highly dependable tool that you can trust your life with. Go to powertac.com/RSWC and save 15% on your order. That's powertac.com/RSWC. Sabre Pepper Spray has been making grown men cry since 1975. Find the link in the show description and help get the Stagecoach across America with every Sabre Red purchase you make.
Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the Stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
All right, before we start this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie, I want to thank you guys all for tuning in and watching the show. If you are watching on YouTube, please hit the notification bell and subscribe to the channel as well. You guys know how to do this. If you're listening to the podcast version of the show, please leave some positive comments there, because that is good for all the algorithms and helps get the show out to more people. We're glad you're here. We're glad you guys are watching the show. Thank you very much. All right, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today we are coming to you from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I have with me Al Hammond. Al, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you for having me.
This is my pleasure. So Al is one of the candidates for the NRA Board of Directors, and you are on what everyone is calling the Reform, on the Reform Party. Is it?
Yes.
It's not the Reform Party, the Reform slate of candidates, where there's 28 candidates, and we're trying to get, trying to get all 28 of these people to get in on the NRA board and make some changes, right?
It is. There's some of us that I'm actually currently on the board, so there's a few of us that are incumbents, but we are all a part of this change that we want to see progress throughout the NRA.
Right. You're relatively new to the board, right?
I am. I'm new to the board. This is my first 3-year term, but
Yep.
I also was on NRA staff for over 28 years.
Okay.
So I came from staff, and I retired and then ran for the board of directors.
Gotcha. Because I heard somebody say that all the stuff that went down started in 2017, and I think that's when things started happening.
That's some of it. I mean, I think this has been a progression of a lot of years.
Oh, for sure.
And it's started well before that.
Yeah.
But and I saw that as a staff.
I
saw some things that just didn't set with me as well as they should have with for the organization, and that's part of what led me to run for the board, and then ultimately be a part of this and work with this group of individuals that wants to reform the NRA.
Very cool. All right, how did you become a gun guy? Did you grow up hunting or shooting?
I did. I mean, I grew up, families, in the ag business, and I was all around that all my life. And, we got to shoot and hunt, and we still do, and that's just, it was a cultural thing for us, and it's never changed.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in North Florida.
Okay.
Alachua, Florida is where I live. And we still, my children and my grandchildren still participate and shoot and hunt.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
We're all part of it. So it was a natural for me,
right,
to because it's something we always believed in. And Florida is such a great state because it's a, it's the gunshine state. It's the free state. I mean, we like our firearms. We like, to have the ability to protect ourselves. We were the first ones to do, concealed carry. We were
that was what, 86? 86, 87?
87 or 80, 87 or 88, right in there. We were.
And this is, this is way before I was a gun guy, but I remember hearing everyone say that if you went down to Florida and you got a rental car and you had the Avis or the Enterprise sticker, the locals knew that you were not a local, and that's when crime became an issue down there, right?
That's exactly how it started. It was easier because, especially when you came in, and we had a lot of tourism, so you had people that came and they had rental cars, and the rental car license plates were completely different from the resident plates. So they knew automatically
who's got a rental car.
The criminals knew who was out of state and who couldn't carry a gun or who couldn't have a gun, and that continued even with concealed carry. But that certainly proved the point of why we needed
you need a gun, for sure.
And we are still the largest concealed carry license holder state in the country.
Very cool. Now, I'm a little biased, I got to tell you. I am a firearm instructor, but I teach the Utah class, and I'll tell you why. You can tell your people back in Florida. The difference between the Utah permit and the Florida permit is Utah gives you Washington State, but not New Mexico. Florida gives you New Mexico, but not Washington State. The Florida permit is like $117 or $97
initially,
and then it's like $87 to renew.
Yes.
And the Florida permit,
it's actually gone down below that.
Oh, cool.
And it's a 7-year renewal.
7 years is a long time. Not that I'm complaining, because I'm not. But the Utah permits, it just dropped to like $62, and it's good for 5 years. And you renew it, it's $25. So this is what and it's other than that, they're very much the same.
And we're still on the process within NRA to try to get national reciprocity passed.
Nice.
Because we need that, and that's something it's been, we've continued to push that, and we hopefully at one point soon we can get national reciprocity done.
Yeah, national reciprocity would be awesome, because then you don't have to worry when you cross the state line. Like I drove down here to Harrisburg. I had to come from Massachusetts through Connecticut, New York, and then finally through Pennsylvania. I could have gone through New Jersey. I actually just got my New Jersey permit.
Okay.
It only cost me over $600. I know I'm going to complain about $197, but I don't go to Florida. But I do go through Jersey. So.
Well, they use that as a deterrent, and that's one of the things we didn't want to do in Florida and other states. We don't want this to be a deterrent for people.
For sure.
So it's important that we continue to push that, and it's fantastic. You're an instructor teaching people. And one of the things with NRA we want to, we don't advocate everybody should own a firearm.
Right.
We advocate you should have the right to choose. And if you choose to own a firearm, we want to make you a responsible firearms owner and teach you safety and education and training. And so it's fantastic you're doing that. That's exactly what we are, what we want to do, and that's who we are. We were built on education, training, and safety, this organization.
For sure. All right, so how did you end up with a job at the NRA? So what was your job? What did you do before you became, you don't just
I was actually in the ag industry. I worked for several big companies, and in their agricultural fertilizer divisions, and ran a big co-op, farm co-op. But I had volunteered with some other organizations, helping raise money for conservation efforts. And in NRA, I knew an individual that had gone to work for NRA. That NRA decided they wanted to come up with this new program called Friends of NRA. And they were looking for someone, and I got the opportunity to interview and look at the job and see if I would, this was something I wanted to do. And ultimately, I and a handful of others, we started the Friends of NRA program from ground up.
Oh, very cool.
So this started in 1993. The pilot program was in the fall of 1992, but then in spring of '93, we actually kicked this program off. So that's how I got into NRA. I was the field representative for Florida.
Yeah. What does the field representative do? because I've talked to a few of them, and I don't know what they do because they always talk about hunting stories and going out and going shooting. I'm like, how do I get a job like that?
Well, you don't get to hunt and shoot as much, and it's that's the fallacy. It sounds good, but
right, it sounds good.
You're busy all the time, but most the reps, and it's varied over the years with the duties and responsibilities. But today, what the field reps' main responsibility is raising funds through the NRA Foundation, or for the foundation, NRA Foundation, and those funds are utilized to promote the shooting sports. And we use that money. We split that money. When they have a Friends of NRA dinner, 50% is used in their respective state that they raised it in, and the other 50% is used on national projects. So their predominant role is fundraising for the foundation, but then they also are really a liaison between our membership and NRA itself, because there's all the people asking questions. Where do I go to become an NRA instructor?
Right.
Well, they're not necessarily involved in that particular program, but they can here's who you need to contact.
Right. Yeah.
And so, it's more of a liaison, but they're the face of the NRA out in our communities across this country.
How big was your territory?
Well, I had Florida at one time, all of Florida, and then actually 1 or 2 years I had Florida and part of Alabama and part of Georgia. And this is when we were just getting started, but we've had more field reps, so we were able to split the state later on. Down the road, I became a regional director. So I was the regional director for the southern region, and it was 8 southern states. And then ultimately, I became the director of field staff for the entire country. And that's when I retired. I was the director of field staff.
How long did you do that for?
Oh, well, I was at NRA for over 28 years, 28 and a half years. So
that's a long time.
But it wasn't a job for me. For me, it was a lifestyle. It was just, this is who I was. And it wasn't, I believed in what we were doing because I lived it. I was a part of it. I wanted to, gun ownership is very important to me, and it is today, and it was back then. And it's important that I protect that for my children. I have 4 grandchildren. I want them to have the same opportunities that I do.
Right.
And I had and continue to have. And I think that's important. And I think that's why a lot of us, and that's what I look at NRA membership. Our members, they've got that same passion and drive.
Oh, for sure.
And that's why this organization is so strong, because we believe in what we're doing.
It's one of the things that I didn't become a gun guy until I was in my 30s, and I kind of took the fast track. I got into this. I remember the first handgun I shot was a Smith & Wesson model 617 10-shot revolver, and I remember shooting this, and I'm like, this is really cool. Do other people know about this? Because this is amazing. and I jokingly say I realized that I would have to, in order for me to maintain this hobby, I would have to quit drinking, but not for forever, just for a little while. So I could have some fun to do this. And what I didn't, I do remember getting the Eddie Eagle video, and it had, oh my gosh, the guy from 90210.
Jason Priestley.
Jason Priestley, there we go. I can't remember his name, but I remember what show he was on. And he was in the video, and he had a big Nokia phone and stuff. But I remember going to the library and seeing this and checking it out and having my kids watch it. And what we did what I called Nerf gun safety. And Nerf gun safety was, if my son had his friends over, they could shoot the crap out of each other with the Nerf guns. But if my daughter wasn't playing in the Nerf gun fight, then they couldn't shoot her, right? And it was important to teach us, and that's all gun safety was when they were 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, is you don't point a gun at somebody. And then we'd take them out to the range. I'd have them shoot a .22 rifle, I bought a .22 Walther P22 semi-auto handgun for them to shoot. And every time we go through the gun safety rules, and my kids are now 22 and 24, and still when we go to the range, we still go through all the gun safety rules.
And that's important, and that's absolutely what we want to do. And the Eddie Eagle program, there's been over 30 million children that have seen that program. Wow. I think the last figure I saw was close to 33 million. And that program, if you look at the literature on it, it's very small print about the National Rifle Association. That we developed that to teach firearms safety and to teach home safety. where if a kid, children see a gun, they know what to do. Stop, don't touch, leave the area, tell an adult. And, that program, there was a lot of resistance, unfortunately, through a lot of the school systems.
Oh, sure.
Because it was done by NRA. We weren't trying to raise membership. We were trying to teach gun safety.
Absolutely, you're trying to teach people how to be safe, kids how to be safe with a firearm, and obviously if they go shooting with their parents, the parents are going to enforce the safety, and if they're cleaning the guns afterwards, the parents are going to go through all of that with them. But it's for if your kid goes to someone else's house and they're not as strict on the gun safety rules as you might be, or if it's where your kid goes to someone's house and their kid's like, hey, I know your folks from the shooting. I know where my dad's gun is. Let's go find it.
And that's exactly how NRA started. It was teaching and education. It was marksmanship originally, learning marksmanship. And that's part of what we're doing today in this reform group. What we're trying to teach is we're wanting to get back to the educational side of NRA. We're going to get back into our program side. We lost all that. And we've, and unfortunately COVID was part of it, but we've got to go back. And I will say there's been a big push now, and we're already seeing that. Doug Hamlin, the new EVP, I think he's been on your show as well.
He has been on my show.
And he's done a great job. We're bringing back some staff, full-time and part-time staff in the general operations side, to get back to the core root of what this organization started with and what we should be doing. Unfortunately, the political side, we were pushed into that. That arena was not something the NRA originally started out in.
Right.
ILA, our Institute for Legislative Action, came about in the 1970s, about 1974. And it was because we needed to do political activity.
Right. Because the Gun Control Act of
Gun
1968.
Control 68 and all the other things that were coming about. Unfortunately, what the media doesn't publicize is how many millions upon millions of dollars we spend on this education, training, and safety. And it's focused of we're just strictly political. That is a fallacy. We are not.
Right. It's I've said this before. I think we need to have a big NRA. We need to have a strong NRA, because when the anti-gun folks go after the gun lobby, the only group they know about is the NRA. They don't know about Second Amendment Foundation. They don't know about Gun Owners of America. They don't know about Firearm Policy Coalition. Maybe they don't know that every state has a pro-gun organization. And so when people talk about when they talk about guns, they just assume everything's NRA. And the stats are what, 100 million gun owners and 4 million NRA members? Like the numbers aren't right.
Well, our membership, our dues-paying members are low compared to the number of gun owners across this country, the estimated number of gun owners. But the interesting fact is a lot of that, there's families, and I would use the example of, dad or granddad is a member of the NRA, but the entire family considers themselves members of the NRA. They're not dues-paying.
Right.
And that's where we have a lot of political clout when it comes to the elections and how we can, swing a vote, a percentage of that can actually, influence an election.
Right.
So, we'd love to have everybody become an NRA member, but, some families, okay, it's one or two in the family, but everybody votes that way. And it's that same ideology. Now, for me personally, what I did when, all my children, my wife, all my children are life members. All my grandchildren are life members.
Nice. That's when you can get the cool backpacks and jackets, right?
Yeah. Well, it was important to me. I didn't even, care about that. We would sign up our grandchildren at the annual meetings as they were born.
Oh, that's cool.
They were, not even a year old.
Oh, that's great.
And that the two things I wanted to do. We're also big hunters. And so I always, with my grandchildren, they got a lifetime NRA membership and a lifetime hunting and Florida hunting and fishing license. I bought
Really?
both.
A lifetime hunting license?
Lifetime hunting and fishing. I bought it for all four of my grandchildren.
That's pretty cool.
And that's how important it is to me and to I know to a lot of people that we protect this. and we protect our rights.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that's a part of this whole reform group, is we've just got to go back to some basics and bring a little bit of common sense back into this of where we need to be and what we need to be doing.
Right.
And we're at a point we struggled. I mean, it's no secret of all the legal challenges we faced in the last few years, and it's financially it's really drained us.
Oh, for sure,
But we are coming out of it, and we will come out of it. We obviously are trying to get our membership back up, get people engaged. We've got clubs that we want to, that are shooting clubs, that hunting clubs. We want to get them back affiliated with us, get their members to be members of the NRA.
Right.
We want more instructors. We want people teaching out there, teaching people who want to be gun owners. We've had so many new gun owners, and especially women.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
And I'm sure you've seen that in your courses.
I have a class this coming weekend, or in a week, whatever. I think I have 4 people signed up, and they're all women.
That's fantastic.
So it is, and there have been a lot more women signing up and taking classes, not because there's husband's a gun owner and there's a gun in the house, because they're interested in learning how to shoot themselves.
Yeah.
Learning how to shoot by themselves.
Right. Exactly. And
words mean things, right?
And
yeah.
That's what we need, and that's what we should be doing. And as gun ownerships increase, we saw a huge surge in gun sales over the years. And let's get these people trained. Let's get in quality training, and that's one of the things we believe in. And we want time on the range.
Yeah.
They need trigger time.
Absolutely. It's what's the old line? A 22 is a gateway drug.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the reformers. There's 28 candidates. I know there's a couple. I think they're write-in candidates.
We have 2, Charlie Brown from Dayton, Ohio, and Paul Babez from Atlanta, Georgia, that are write-ins. They didn't get, they had some issues with, the mail and getting things in on time with the ballots, and this put them in a situation where they couldn't actually be on the ballot. They had met the criteria for the number of signatures.
Right.
But so we want to, consider keep pushing them as a write-in candidate.
Gotcha. But they're not on the list of the 28, or are they?
They are on the list of the 28. They're just not. They're not going to be on the printed ballot that you would get in your magazine.
Gotcha. It's important to vote for the 28 rather than bullet vote, right? Because over the last number of election cycles at the NRA, I've always heard people say you need to bullet vote because these are the people we want to get in there. And when there's not less votes and more ballots, but when people vote for less people, I've heard that it seems to be more effective to say, well, we didn't really, this person had less votes, this person had more votes, and it's not. I'm not quite sure what I'm trying to say here.
Well,
there's less people. No, there's people voting for less. Like you have what you can.
We have less competition. So if you bullet vote, what you would do is if I bullet voted and voted just for you, that elevates you one more vote and no one else.
Right.
If you vote for everybody, it elevates everybody. But our point with this is and ordinarily we elect 25 board members every year. So there's 75 board members. They're each on a 3-year term.
Right.
And then we have a 76 board member that's elected at the annual meeting for a 1-year term. But because we've had some vacancies and it's dropped off, so they're fulfilling some of the ones that have dropped off through attrition.
Yeah.
We've actually got 28 slots. The first 25 are going to get a 3-year term.
Okay.
And then the other 3 would fulfill the other remaining terms of some of the other candidates.
Gotcha.
And that's why it's a 28. That's not typically the norm.
Right.
But our platform is we want to put 28 qualified people in here and let's elevate everybody to the top. Rather than try to bullet vote and then you get a hodgepodge and potentially you could get, someone could get elected where someone else wouldn't get elected that we would hope would have gotten elected.
Gotcha. So it's important to vote for these 28.
Yes.
The 26, 27, and 28, are they? Are the 26th, 27th, and 28th, like let's say they all get elected, are they going to take the spots of the open vacancies?
Yes, they'll take
Okay.
those, and they'll have to rerun.
Rerun.
Some of those will only be a year term,
Right, and some might be a
But-
2-year.
so they'll have to run again. But and it's based on the number of votes.
Okay.
And so that's why we want to, and what we're also trying to do is we want people to vote. It's your organization. If you're a member, we want you to vote and be a part of this. And you can, the ballots are in the magazine. It's just come out.
Yeah.
And even today, if you join, I believe by March the 6th, you can, and become a life member, you can actually still qualify to vote for this year.
By March 6th?
On March 6th, because
Okay, so
the
they got-
ballots are due by the first week in April.
Yeah.
So you could still become a life member and be eligible to vote. Ordinarily, to vote, you have to be a life member or a consecutive member for at least 5 years. Yes.
Gotcha. All right, I hope we're not getting on the highway.
But
We haven't gone down this far. I don't know where it's going to take us. I guess I could have turned on
Oh,
that
oh,
road. Whoop. I'm good. How can people find these 28 people? Or where can people find them?
well, we've got a website.
Yep.
And it's NRA 2.0.
NRA 2.0.
Elect-
There's elect a new NRA.
Elect a new NRA 2.0.
Gotcha.
But elect new NRA, or if you get into, there's a lot of blogs out there. I mean, the NRA magazine has it, but with the website, that when you go to the website, you can actually look at the candidates, and
I got a bio for everybody.
everybody's got a bio, so you can get a feel of it. Like at these, here being at the outdoor show, we're very approachable. We make sure people know. We've tried to talk to as many people.
I heard you guys all stood outside and handed out coffee.
We did. Coffee and gloves this morning.
Coffee
it
and
was
gloves.
It was a little chilly, and we had some gloves from the Institute for
was-
Legislative Action. Had some extra stuff that they had for promo material. We handed out
Nice.
about 1,300 pair of gloves this morning.
Wow, that's cool.
And coffee, and it was fun because you could go and talk to people,
Right.
thank them for coming, and I think that's important. As a board member, I'm an everyday person, and so is everyone else, and that we want to make sure that everybody understands we're just like you, and we want to hear from you.
Right.
It's our organization, and we want to hear from you.
I think it's important to get a lot of people with varied backgrounds. I've interviewed Frank Tate, and he's said he's served on different types of boards, and the boards are supposed to do a particular thing, and they have guidelines and rules and whatnot that they have to follow. And he said the NRA board hasn't been doing that. Which is why he was running, for the last several years.
Well, and we've got, I can't speak to what Frank was saying, as far as completely. I mean, we do follow protocol, but there's some
Right.
things that, we could do better at,
Yeah.
quite honestly. And part of that is, I think some transparency, not only within the board, but also within our membership.
Right.
And, we just have to start being transparent and go through it. And we want our members to help make some of these decisions that are out there.
Right.
And that's important, and we're looking at making some bylaw changes. Some of that you see in the magazine. There's a bylaw change in the magazine this time, and quite honestly, what that's about is to get us in compliance. New York State not-for-profit laws had changed, and we didn't file correctly because we didn't catch that change. But this is
Right.
going to correct it. It's really housekeeping, and a lot of that we're going back to. We need to be doing procedurally correct. And we need to make sure we're transparent with our membership
Yeah.
and have their input. And I think that's very important. And that's the majority of the board. I will say our board's, I think we're coming together. We've had, some friction a little bit back and forth.
Sure.
But I think that's healthy. I take it as healthy because that's how you get things solved. And
Sure.
I'd be scared if we were all in complete agreement and there was no good discussion.
Right.
And that's where the board members and this 28 group of people that you got coming in that we're trying to get in, including myself, we all have diversified backgrounds.
Yeah.
And everybody brings something to the board, an expertise. And we utilize that, and together it's a powerhouse.
Oh, yeah.
But
it definitely needs to be. I do remember listening to, I think it was a family therapist, and he was talking about couples, and he said if two people are exactly the same, then one of you's not needed. You know, so if everyone has the same, if everyone has the same set of skills, it's going to be lacking in other departments. And again, very much like a, you know, like a relationship, if you're, if you don't have to agree all the time, you know, and you have to be able to work things out and compromise, and you know, you do something your wife enjoys, she does something you enjoy, and you know, it kind of keeps the peace for everybody, and everyone gets to have their thing, have whatever they do, and it's just part of getting along.
Well, and we've got, you know, some of the questions have been, you know, we've got this large number, 76 member board, but we've got over 40 committees within the board, and it's diversified. You have everything from, you know, the competitive side, different disciplines, to you know, education and training, to, you know, hunting, to, you know, legal affairs, to legislative policies. And again, that's just what, going back to what you're saying, Charlie, is the expertise someone has. Your expertise in, say, training, it may not be my expertise, so you serve a greater purpose on those type committees, and that's why we have so many, because you need so much diversification.
Sure.
And that's what brings the NRA together and the board together when we're working together. And we do follow, you know, the policies and the procedures very similar to the legislature. It's pretty much mirrored it, where you go through committees, and the committees review things and then make a recommendation to the board, and then the board ultimately decides, you know, makes decisions. But we're looking for that input from your expertise and my expertise, and that's how you build a strong organization.
Nice.
And that's really what we're getting back to, and we're trying to get back to.
Very cool. Do I heard someone last night at the Friends of the NRA dinner saying that usually there's, I think they said the number they threw out was 44,000 people vote, but this year they're expecting 350,000 people to vote?
Last year there was close to 80,000 that voted.
Okay.
And we have well over 1 million. I don't know the exact figure, but I know it's well over 1 million that are qualified to vote. We're hoping by this push we're putting out that we want people to vote, and it's voice your opinion. Here's your chance. It's like voting.
Right.
Voting in the presidential election. We wanted to hear, you know, obviously.
Right. If you don't vote, you can't complain about something.
Exactly. But you know, we want people to vote and be a part of the process, but we also want people to be informed.
Oh yeah.
And that's where, you know, trying to promote, you know, where the candidates can get out there and you can, you know, elect a new NRA. You know, go into that website, you can see who these candidates are and who we are, and you know, what we bring to the table. And I think that's important for our membership to know.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
And I love talking to our members and to people, and you know, I've taken several suggestions from people this week already that have come up to me and made some comments, and you know, I think that's important, and I think they should have that right to do that, and I would say that across the board. All the board has been very good about, you know, they'll listen to that. We want to hear that input.
Right. Yeah, it is a member-driven group, and you want to make sure you're doing what the members, you know, are interested in doing, in the direction they want to go, for sure.
Well, we've got a survey going on at the Great American right now, and if you go to the NRA booth, there's a survey going on, and that's part of this. Is we're trying to get a feel of, you know, some directions of what things, you know, what are our members looking for,
right?
And what are they seeing and feeling and hearing, and that's important.
Very cool. All right, wrapping things up. And what else would you like to say?
Just want to say, you know, that the NRA is strong. financially we're at a foothold that we are financially ready to move forward. We're looking for new membership. We need to get our membership back. We've lost a number of members over the years, and you know, it's part of this has been, I know the economic factors have played into this. Part of this has been, you know, some of the legal challenges we've had. But we are a strong organization. We are getting stronger every day. We've got a tremendous leadership team with Doug Hamlin and the people and the directors he's brought in under him, and I'm excited about it. And I can tell you, after over 30 years working with this organization, I see the ray of sunshine in this, and I would encourage people to check it out, become a member. If you weren't a member, please join. If you were previously a member, we want you to come back.
Yeah, it's not that much money either.
Some of the show promotions, you can sign up at the show here in Harrisburg for $35, and that saves you entry fee into the show, which is $15. It really costs you $20 to get in.
$20.
$20.
I paid $23 for a pulled pork sandwich.
I'm just gonna say something for lunch.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
A pulled pork sandwich and a watered down iced tea or lemonade.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's incredibly inexpensive, but the benefits that you get out of that, and we continually keep our members informed.
Yeah.
We've got great magazines, just a tremendous group, and I would encourage people to come back and participate and, you know, upgrade your membership, but also become involved. If you want to be an instructor, if you want to become politically active,
right,
we want you involved as well. We just don't want your money and want you to just say you're a member. We'd love to have you engaged.
Absolutely. One of the things when in Massachusetts, in order to get a license to carry, there are only a certain number of courses that the state accepts as approved courses, and the NRA are home firearm safety, basic pistol, basic rifle, basic shotgun. These are the approved courses, which is great, which is fine, which is cool. But to me, if somebody wants to become, if they want to join the club and become a gun folk, then they're not. I hate saying this. They're not going to look for the USCCA. They're not going to look for Second Amendment Foundation. They're not going to look for anything because, as we said earlier, people know the NRA. People know the NRA. They don't know all these other pro-gun groups, so they're not going to be looking for them, and they're not going to know to look for them, and that's why it's important to. I don't know what's worse, him not paying attention or me not paying attention. I don't even think we almost hit him. So it's important to me. It's important to have a good NRA because it's most of the time it's the first group that somebody when they become a gun owner, it's the first group that they hear about, they know about. You know what I mean?
Well, we are the largest gun organization, and we're the oldest gun rights organization. So we are the powerhouse in this, and we will continue to be, and we just need to be stronger, and that's based on getting more membership in and getting those members involved and engaged. And when we do that, we are truly, and we want to build to that. You know, we've got 100+ million, as you mentioned earlier, of gun ownership and gun owners in the country, and a very, very small percentage of that is actual NRA members.
Right.
So we want to increase that, but that also increases that other membership or people that perceive themselves as a member. So again, that just elevates the awareness out there, and that's really who we are. Again, we want to promote the right and the freedoms and where you can choose to be a gun owner and protect that right, because that's important, and that's your right. If you choose not to, that's fine
That's
as
cool
well.
too. Right.
No problem. And I will tell you, we've had members, and we do have members who don't own a firearm. And I've had people tell me that over the years, many years of, I don't own a firearm, but I believe in the right to choose.
I started off as one of those people, right? I've been a musician for a long time. You know, you get the magazine subscriptions as fundraisers at your nieces and nephews' schools. There were no music magazines I wanted, so I got a bow hunting magazine because it's the opposite of anything I would have ever done, right? And getting bow hunting magazine puts you on a mailing list from the NRA as a hunter. Right?
Okay.
So I got something from the mail, and It didn't say this exactly, but the message I got was, give Ted Kennedy the finger. And so I'm like, I'd like to give Ted Kennedy the finger. So I joined the NRA, became a card-carrying member. I have my President is Charlton Heston bumper sticker.
Okay.
I had it laminated so I could,
So that was in the late
That
90s.
Yes, this was the early 2000s when I did this, and that's how I got up and going. I was a card-carrying NRA member before I fired a gun, before I had a gun license,
And that's fantastic and now you're an instructor.
yeah.
So you progressed all the way
All
through,
the way
and
through.
because you became engaged, and you wanted to protect that right, and now you want to teach that to others because you want them to be responsible gun owners.
I want them to enjoy it too.
Absolutely, and that's who we are. That is the NRA. That is our NRA members. We're blue collar, white collar, down to earth Americans.
Absolutely.
So,
Al, this is great. Thank you so
Charlie,
much.
Thank you so much.
We're going to put some links for Elect a New NRA and NRA 2.0.
Okay.
We'll put some links below. If you are not a member of the NRA, obviously you need to join the NRA. If you're not a member of the Second Amendment Foundation, there's going to be a link below in the show description for that as well. You can find all of your favorite pro-freedom podcasts at Self-Defense Radio Network at the sdrn.us. And if you made it this far, please share the show with your friends. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, do all of that good stuff because it's good for all the algorithms. And we thank you guys for watching the show. We'll see you next time.